Hey guys, it's Rich from BilletSPIN. Boy, it is my pleasure to introduce you to my latest invention, our latest top here. And this one is cool. Definitely in the top two of the coolest things I've ever made. And the only thing that would be close would be the Wraith. For those of you that are not familiar with the Wraith, that was a 27-piece top that I made for a good friend of mine back in the early part of 2016. And very, very impressive top just because of the amount of pieces that went into it. And the fact that it still spun really, really well was pretty amazing. But this one, the assembly of this one is so complicated on the inside of the top, and it's hidden where you can't see it. And so that's why we named this one Pandora, because of the hidden intricacies inside of the top that you just can't tell once it's all assembled. And so I'll be doing a series of videos on this top. This is just going to be an introductory video just to kind of show you what's up. This is my very first prototype, and I have to ask for forgiveness because I've carried this top with me all day today, so it's a little bit dirty. Hope you understand, but yeah, it's a great spinner, easy to launch. Very, very impressed because I would have figured it would have had a real high center of gravity, but it's very easy to launch. I have no idea what the spin time is, and I don't really care because honestly, this top's more about art than performance. But yeah, it's a big top. It's 1.37 inches in diameter, and it's going to be about 85 to 90 grams when it's done. This one weighs 84 grams, but it's got a hardened bearing ball instead of carbide because my ball supplier didn't have any carbide, and it just is. They're going to be showing up here in a little bit. But anyways, that's just the carbide is going to look very, very similar, almost identical to that, maybe a little bit darker, more of a gunmetal color. But anyways, let's go through an entire tour of this top, starting at the bottom. So for those of you that are not familiar with my Pro top, the BilletSPIN Pro, this might be the first time you've ever seen a claw grip from me. And I did a couple tops, starting with the Pro, which was the top that really launched BilletSPIN as a brand on Kickstarter back in early 2015. And I use this type. It's like a jeweler's setting where it's just a claw that grabs it. And it's hard to see, but the back of the claw, where the ball seats, is perfectly contoured to the diameter of the ball. So you can see it just curls right around there. And the nice thing about this one over the Pro is the fact that there's a gap on both sides here of the ball. And what that's going to allow me to do is I have a tool that I can use to remove the ball. So that means if down the road, if you get a flat spot on the ball, which I doubt will happen anyway, but if it does, I can rotate the ball for you or put in a new one or what have you. So, and I'm going to guess you're going to get about 5 swaps. With 5 swaps before the pocket will get loose on you. And that's going to give you probably a lifetime of spinning this top without any issues. So anyways, so that's kind of a cool feature that I've never offered before. And so for those of you that would be interested in that, and you have questions about the ball swap down the road, you can just hit me up in a message and I'll take care of you there. So anyways, you can see that there are prongs in our outer collar here, and those prongs line up with the claw that's holding the ball. Okay, and then you have slots that you can see through into part of the inner disc. And I want you to look, and everything is done in 6s on this top, okay? So 6 is the main number of pattern repetitions here. So if you look right here, okay, we're going to tip this thing, and you can see that is exactly in line. This entire top is orientated to itself from front to back. And so all of the slots in the outer collar where the spuds come through on this side are the same as on the front. And then if you also look, sticking with that, you can see the slots in the grip line up with the studs, whatever you want to call them, protrusions that stick out there. Now, when I first started on this design, I had a key theme. And the theme that I wanted to accomplish was to have alternating materials. So we got stainless steel and copper, but they're on the same circle, okay? call it a bolt circle or whatever you want to call it. And so I wanted to do that, but then I wanted to hide how I did it. And so what I wanted was for a machinist to be able to look at this top and have it take a little bit for him to figure out, or them, her too, figure out how I was able to accomplish that. And it's not crazy complicated, but it's just a cool feature. And the key to it is what's underneath this outer collar here. And down the road, I'm gonna have one of these apart where you can see exactly how I did it. But I thought it was kind of neat, and just I took it over to my dad, who's the best machinist I know, and it took him a couple minutes, for him to figure out exactly how I did it. There's multiple ways to do it, but he actually was able to figure out exactly how I did it. But it did take him a couple minutes, and I thought that was pretty cool because my old man is one heck of a good machinist. So anyways, yeah, and I took pictures of this and I put it in the group. I was a little disappointed at how the pictures didn't really showcase the stem, and so I hope that this video helps you to see the flow and how it really flows with the theme of the top from front to back. You can see that, like the Matrix, we got a gap in between here, and so you can see down into one part of the inner disc here. Now, so those of you that are looking at it, you might say, well, how many pieces is this exactly? Well, there could be several answers to this, but depending on how we accomplish this. But in the way that I did it, you're looking at 5 pieces, not counting the ball. And there's 2 inner discs underneath these collars here. And then there's the 2 outer collars, that would make 4. And then you have the stem, which is 5. And if you want to count the ball, it would be 6. So that's how it's done. Enormous amount of machining here. And the hard part, well, every component on this top is difficult to make. None of it's easy. And to hold all the tolerances that needed to be held in order to get this thing to spin true, balanced, that's the difficult thing. To get this alternating materials and to do it in a way that allowed everything to be perfectly balanced was just very, very, very difficult. And the drawback to this is because it's a very, very, very complex top. It takes forever to make. And so I don't know how many of these I'm going to have available, but I'm going to do my best. We're starting to run now, and I got some special tooling in. We're going to try to optimize the cycle times down as much as I can so that we can make as many as possible. And but for sure, I'm not going to be able to make enough to appease everybody. I know that for sure. But these are going to be going up for sale probably mid to end of January. The price on the standard materials is going to be $300 plus shipping. And we're going to be offering about 8 standard materials. I really want to just showcase the machining on this top rather than exotic materials. So I'm going to do about 8 standards. I might do a couple less or a couple more than that of the standard materials, and 1 exotic. And the exotic is going to have Timascus outers and a titanium stem. And those are going to be very limited, and I'm going to do COAs with all of those, but they're going to be very, very pricey because of the amount of machining with Timascus and the price of the big, large diameter Timascus. It's just going to be a very expensive top, and it's going to be very hard to get. So the rest of them will just be standard materials. Yes, we will have bronze for those of you that are big bronze fans. Bronze, stainless, copper, those are what the combos are going to be made out of the standard materials. For those of you that are curious about the stem, yes, the stem, the grip, it's aggressive, man. I'm not going to lie to you. It had to be done. The design called for these 6 slots. I just couldn't not do that because it just fits so well with the design. But here's what I did. I want to give you a close-up of this. I want to give you a close-up of a couple different features of this top. If you look, if I can get the right angle here, okay, you see how that slot opens up and there's a chamfer on the side here, an angle on both sides. So it's not sharp, okay? And then, because the gap was so far in between them, I put a little V-notch in there, in between each one. I just think that looks cool, something I've never done before. So it's not hard on your hands. Your finger definitely compresses inside of that big channel, and you can get a monstrous grip on it. I definitely, I did a top called the Alpha where the thing would like draw blood if you spun it a ton. This one I don't think is definitely not that aggressive on your hands, but it's more aggressive than your average top from BilletSPIN. So But like I said, it just goes with the theme of the design so well, I just had to do it. Okay, the other thing I want you to look at, this is just one little feature that's hard to see. This is one of those tops that when you get it, it's going to take you a while to really see all the different details in it. But I want you to look right here. I want you to look at the stainless steel, the chamfer, the angle on the inside of the bore, how it lines up with the profile of the claw that holds the ball. So hopefully you can see that good. And there's a little gap in there done purposely that just, I don't know, just frames the claws so nice. I just love that. Now you're also going to see that on this side where it does that exact same thing. Now that you're going to have these stainless bosses that come up, but the angle of the outer collar to those angled bosses are the same. Same little gap in there that we had on the other side. But I just thought that was a really cool feature. Also, let's take a look at this section right here. This section is angled. It's not straight. It goes down on an angle. And what that does is when I chamfer this, you can see how the chamfer right here is much thicker than it is right here. See how it's more pointed right here? And then as it goes back, it gets thicker and thicker. Adds a little dimension to it. So if you look at it from this side, you can see how the chamfer varies in size from the front to the back there, which I thought is a really cool effect. And you can see how the points, where it cuts in here, everything lines up with the boss, which lines up with the channel, which lines up with the backside orientation. So anyways, that is the Pandora. 84 grams of yummy goodness. Stainless and copper on this one. 1.37 inches in diameter. 5/16 diameter bearing ball. It's a monster. And those balls are very expensive. Very, very, very expensive. But worth it for the look. It's got a good amount of clearance. Definitely more than our standard tops. And for whatever reason, this thing just spins like a dream. It's so easy to launch. And I don't say that lightly, but this top is substantially easier to launch than the Matrix. So I don't even know how it happened, honestly. But you know, it did. I can tell you there's some little hidden some other gems inside in the inner disc there, where I got the weight where it needed to be. And so that worked for sure. And but it worked a lot better than what I thought. I'm just amazed at how easy it is to spin. So, but it is a beast. It's definitely a huge, huge top. So anyways, we'll do some more videos where we break this thing apart and I'll show you the different components and how things were made, because it's really kind of a fascinating technique. But anyways, yeah, I hope you guys like it. Thanks for tuning in. If you got any questions, let me know, and there'll definitely be more videos about the Pandora in the future. You guys have a wonderful night.